Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. We are back. And yes, as soon as we signed off yesterday, Bitcoin broke the all-time high. And that sucked. It was like 5 minutes after we signed off, waiting for the new all-time high. And then, boom, went crazy. And then overnight, it fell 5% today. 5% today. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be. Would you even call this a pullback? I guess it's a pullback. Dropped 5% after the open, and yeah, it's crazy, right? Okay, so let's get the show going today. Today's gonna be a regularly scheduled program. Gonna rush through these segments and get the majority of the show done pretty quickly. Okay, so let's get into our first segment of the day. Of course, that is the Bitcoin strength. Today, the price of Bitcoin, after hitting an all-time high of $124,532, it dropped all the way back down to $118,000. $10.05 Bitcoin. Today, once again, you can buy 847 Satoshis. Right there, 847 Satoshis for a single dollar today. What is a Satoshi? A Satoshi is a fraction of a Bitcoin. Just like a dollar is made up of 100 cents, a Bitcoin is made up of 100 million Satoshis. So, why is that important? Because when you see the price of Bitcoin, you might be scared and think you're priced out, and you're not priced out. Okay? You can start with as little as $1, $5, $10, $100, whatever you feel comfortable with. You don't need to have $118,000 to get started with Bitcoin. Okay, you buy fractions of a Bitcoin. Those fractions of a Bitcoin are called Satoshis. And today, let's say you're walking down the street minding your own business. You look down, you see a penny, you pick it up, and all the day that penny can buy you 8.48 Satoshis for 1 penny. 847 Satoshis for $1. And that is the Bitcoin strength. What do you think? It's still affordable, right? It's definitely affordable. Why's my head so high? There it is. It works. Yeah, it's definitely affordable. Definitely affordable. You look at the price of Bitcoin, you might be freaked out, but right now, you know what they say? What the old adage is? Dips are gifts. Gifts. Dips are gifts. So we're gonna continue on with our plan to take over the world. Just kidding. Our plan to get to 1 Bitcoin, and that is to continue to dollar cost average into Bitcoin, DCA to BTC, every weekday, $20 a day, and do other side hustles along the way to accumulate more Bitcoin, so that we can get to 1 Bitcoin eventually on this channel. That is a goal. That is a goal, to get to 1 whole Bitcoin. I know it's crazy, right? As far as, let's see. Yeah, 1 whole Bitcoin, that's a goal. And let's get going to the, what's this saying? Welcome to chat. Okay. Chat working? Interesting. It's weird enough. It's weird that nobody's in here. I feel like maybe the notifications didn't go out or something. It's weird. Okay. Or I'm not seeing things correctly on my end. All right. Well, let's just keep the show going, assuming that this is public. Yeah, it is public. Interesting. Maybe maybe people are just extra busy on a Thursday. All right. Or they're trying to figure out what to do with their Bitcoin. Don't worry. You don't sell your Bitcoin. We just buy more. Okay, that's the plan. Okay, let's jump into the why we stack for beginners. For the beginners. Okay. Why we stack? Why do we save in Bitcoin for beginners? Look, it's really simple. Any government money is losing purchasing power the longer you hold it, because those governments continue to make more currency, more copies of it, more fiat, more units of it, more dollars, more pesos, more whatever. And when they do that, the purchasing power of each individual dollar goes down. That's why you can see that we used to be able to buy, what is it, 4,000 satoshis for a single dollar, and now we can only buy 847 satoshis for a dollar, right? It's because the purchasing power of the dollar is going down, and so you need more dollars to buy the same stuff, right? The stuff that's hard to make, the stuff that's scarce, like Bitcoin. Okay, that's why the price of your home is going up somewhat, because it's retaining its value, kind of, but it's not really that the house you live in, or that your house is getting better, because it's getting older, right? It's not that it's getting better, it's just that it's reflecting that you need more of future weaker money to buy the same thing, same home, right? Now, unfortunately, real estate is like not even going up fast enough to make up the difference between inflation and the value of your home. So even though it appears as if your home is gaining you purchasing power, gaining you over time, if it's not gaining price, if it's not appreciating at more than 10%, you're actually losing to inflation, right? So any investment you're doing, if you're not getting at least 10%, you're actually losing. You're falling behind, or you're treading water. So you need to have an investment option, a way to save that preserves your purchasing power or expands your purchasing power, just like Bitcoin does, right? Bitcoin's growing at about 50% year over year so far, and it's beating inflation, obviously, right? It's 50% is more than 10% year over year. So even if you're fighting against inflation, your savings in Bitcoin are beating it by at least 40% if you factor in the 10% real rate of inflation, your hurdle rate. And so by doing nothing else other than just simply buying Bitcoin, taking custody of your Bitcoin, you're improving your position overall. You're increasing the purchasing power of your savings, and you're giving yourself time back that you don't have to spend working to generate revenue, because your savings are actually growing faster than the rate of inflation. So you're getting wealthier just by holding Bitcoin, right? Why do we save in Bitcoin? Because saving in Bitcoin is like traveling back in time and giving yourself a perpetually increasing retroactive raise for the hours you've already worked for, as long as you hold the Bitcoin that represents those hours. And that is why we stack. All right, that's why we stack, ladies and gentlemen. The live studio audience goes wild. What up? Okay, so that is why we stack, and that is the Bitcoin strength. You know what? We should. It looks like Bitcoin's making a little bit an attempt to come back. I don't know. Not that bad. Not really. Okay, we're way back down to 118,000 once again. After making a run and getting to 124,000 all-time high, almost 124,600 or something like that, 500. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good little run. So with that said, let's check out our holdings for the show, right? In a little segment that we like to call the Stack Recap, because we don't only talk about stacking Bitcoin here Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern. We actually do it every weekday. And here it is. In 2025, we've saved so far $4,840, and that's turned into $5,976.70 for a gain of 23% just in 2025. In 2024, we did the same thing, and we gained 96% of the value that we saved. We saved $7,000, and it's currently worth $14,000. Our savings in Bitcoin. We didn't have to do anything extra to generate an additional $7,000 worth of purchasing power. Okay. Another way to look at this is that in 2024, we spent $7,345 to buy 0.122 Bitcoin. If we were to try to buy the same amount of Bitcoin today, since today's money is weaker, we need 96% more of today's weaker money to buy the same amount of Bitcoin. So that shows you in real numbers the rate of inflation in the past year. Just even in 2025, the dollar has lost 23% of its purchasing power. Okay? The dollar has lost 23% of its purchasing power in just this year. Since the beginning of the year, it's August 14th today. Right. We've been saving here since May 22nd, 2023, since we started the show. That was Bitcoin Pizza Day. And today we are at $15,669.98. And that value of our savings has grown to $33,127.89 for a strategic Bitcoin reserve appreciation gain of 111%. So we're 111% up. We've more than doubled our money just by holding it in Bitcoin and just by saving in Bitcoin and taking custody of that coin. Right? Pretty cool. It's pretty rad. All right. So since the beginning of the show, we've been stacking and also doing other things to generate additional revenue. And with all of those things accounted for, we are currently at 0.41446594 BTC for the show. That's 41,446,594 Satoshis in the stack. It's crazy, huh? There he goes. Okay, the current USD value for the 0.414 Bitcoin that we're holding for the show is about $48,000. Actually, sorry, that $49,000. And we are 0.8553406 away from getting to half a Bitcoin. Or in terms of dollars, we are $10,115.39 away from away from half a Bitcoin. The goal for the show is, of course, to get to one whole Bitcoin. And we're going to do it slow and steady. And eventually, as this channel monetizes, we'll be able to use it to generate additional revenue that we will immediately invest into Bitcoin and continue the march, continue the struggle towards one Bitcoin accumulated live during the show or because of the show, right? So that is it. Follow the journey of getting to one whole Bitcoin. That is the plan. All right. So in 2025, our average buy price for 2025 is about 94,000. Our weighted average 94. Our weighted entry across all of our buys is about $94,000 Bitcoin, and the rough estimate is about $100,000 Bitcoin. But still, the price of Bitcoin today is above our average buy price for 2025. So today we're only going to buy $20 worth of Bitcoin, even though it probably makes sense to buy a lot more than that at this rate, at this dip. Dips are gifts, right? So now that we know how much Bitcoin we're going to buy, there's only one thing left to do, really. It's time to stack some Bitcoin. All right. It is time to stack some Bitcoin. Stackity stack stack. Stackity stack time. Here we go. Open up the Strike app. I hit the buy button. I key in $20. I hit next. I select my funding option. I cut the music. Drum roll, please. Here we go. Confirming the buy of $20 worth of Bitcoin right now on the Stack Bitcoin show. Buying $20 worth of Bitcoin on our way to one whole Bitcoin. And just like that, we've accumulated an additional 16,749 Satoshis that we will add to the spreadsheet right now. You stack, you chill, and repeat. Today is 8/14/25, and the price of Bitcoin we deserve today is a tasty $118,335.42 Bitcoin. We bought $20 worth. That got us 0.0001674 Bitcoin, 16,749 Satoshis. And if you have any questions, do put it in the comments or leave it in the comments if you're watching the replay. All right, I'm happy to help you get and understand Bitcoin. Okay, there it is. Boom. Copy that. Bring it over to the cumulative sheet over here. All the buys we've ever done on the show are on this list, and there's a video associated with those buys. Pretty much, like I would say, 90% of those buys are on video. They're an episode of this channel, of this show. Okay. Sometimes I've gone on vacation and I've had to buy the Bitcoin offline, but I still add it to the spreadsheet on days that I can't stream. So we're up to date. August 14th, 2025, we bought $20 worth of Bitcoin. And that means that the only number that matters, the Bitcoin in our holding, that number has gone up. Even if the price of Bitcoin goes down, as long as we have more Bitcoin, it's all good. We are now at 0.41463343 Bitcoin. That is 41,463,343 Satoshis. We are Satoshi multi-millionaires. And yeah, that's how it works. Slow and steady. We keep on keeping on buying Bitcoin and continuing the race, or continuing the struggle to get to one whole Bitcoin. Right now, the struggle is to get to one half of Bitcoin. We're almost getting there. We're getting there. Slow and steady. Okay. I have to figure out what to do on the side to generate $10,000 so we can get to 0.5 Bitcoin. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But anyway, we're going to keep trying. Okay. All right. Nobody in chat today, so I'm assuming there's no questions. Let's wrap this baby up. Let's wrap this episode up. This is going to be a quick one. It's like a 20-minute episode. Dang. All right. It's fine. Let's wrap it up and get going, because I gotta go do some stuff. Okay. So continue to stack. Continue to dollar cost average into Bitcoin. Remember, dips are gifts. Hope you're not over there crying in a fetal position because Bitcoin dropped 5% after the new all-time high. We're just getting ready for another all-time high, guys. It's just a little pullback to get momentum to punch through the next new all-time high, which could be over the weekend or maybe early next week. Who knows, right? Either case, fluctuations in Bitcoin price shouldn't matter to you, because if you're saving the way we're saving here on the show, you're saving for the long term, and you don't plan on selling your Bitcoin for at least 4 years anyway. So each individual buy will not be touched, will not be sold for at least 4 years. And that's just a little thing we like to say, but honestly, I probably wouldn't sell it after that either, because it's going to continue to gain purchasing power. The same reason why Bitcoin has gone from 0 to $123,000 Bitcoin. It's the same reason it's going to go to $500,000 Bitcoin and $1 million Bitcoin and beyond, because the money printer doesn't stop, because the money debasement doesn't stop. Therefore, Bitcoin will continue to go up in value. Simple as that. It's just math. All right, cool. Now that that's said and done, let's wrap up the show, because y'all gotta go. I gotta go do some stuff. Happy Thursday, everybody. If you catch the replay, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you watching the replay. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the Stack Bitcoin Show. But until then, remember, if you ain't stacking, you're slacking. Bye, guys.